Good morning, everyone. We are very lucky to be having Mr. Dilip Asbe, who is the CEO of NPCI. I know for all of you, it's a proud moment because all of us are still wondering how is it that India as a country is able to do so many good things with payment ecosystem that we have in this country. And quite a lot of the initiatives all across the payment ecosystems is obviously done by NPCI, which is Sri Dilip Asbe and a whole lot of people within the NPCI organization. Dilip, thank you for taking time. I know that you've had a very tight schedule, and in spite of that, you were able to spare a bit of time for us. I think the important thing was for us to know what is really happening behind the scenes for us to enjoy the kind of ecosystem that all of us have got in this country, and also to try and see if we could kind of take inputs from you and see what is currently happening and where do things go from here. So without much ado, Dilip, so thank you for coming in. Maybe you want to say good morning to everybody here.
Hi, good morning to all of you. And, first of all, I apologize that I could not come because I have a AGM today, NPCI AGM, and then I have a quarterly RBI review. So sorry, I could not be there in person. I think, Kumar, the way I look at it, there are 3-4 things have come right, and that is what has helped NPCI I cannot say the word succeed, but be on a right journey. That is the way I would like to put it. I think the first one is the government and RBI's keen push, right, to kind of drive the acceptance of the digital payments, right? Obviously all of us, and while the hall must be full of retailers, because it's a retailer association, very important institute for India. The digital payment, when the customer comes back with the cash, right, the customer is paying what is his budget is what is available in his wallet, right? When the customer comes back with the digital payment, customer pays back what is his bank account balance, right? So the discretionary spends, the increased spend because of the digital payments by say about 30 to 40% sale going up of even the small retailers. I'm not talking about the large retailers. Large retailers actually cannot even work without the digital payments now because who will carry 10,000, 15,000 cash in the wallet? You can't even fit that much of cash in the wallet to take. But even the small retailers, it's a worldwide proven scenario that the digital payment helps to increase the sales, and it kind of helps the consumer to come to the shop and actually make the purchase transaction. So I think the RBI and government has been very keen that the digital payments before 7-8 years back were only available to the rich merchants, the richer merchants, the bigger merchants, richer consumers, the bigger consumers. But I think with a lot of efforts from the RBI and the government, I think they have truly democratized, I must say that, truly democratized the digital payments. And even the Panwala shop, right, takes 10 rupee, 20 rupee digital payments. I think Panwala or the Chaiwala or stalls, in fact, outside our Jogeshwari office, there is a lane and there are a lot of stalls, and there is not a single stall, Kumar, that it doesn't display digital payments QR code, right? So I think the first is the credit goes to the RBI and government. The second thing I must say that, a lot of new players came in last 5-6 years, whether it's Paytm, PhonePe, GPay, Bharat Pay, variety of credit, I think Amazon Pay, variety of new players actually came in. And they were able to collaborate with the banking ecosystem because our financial system is the bank-led system. So I think the second big factor is these guys. And when these guys came, right, they were hungry. They were excited to go back and convert every merchant, right? Because obviously they have larger aspirations. The digital payment is a starting point for them, right? So they want to start with the digital payment, but they would like to give a working capital. There are going to be many financial services bouquet to the retailer, right? In that sense. And the third thing I may say that, the NPCI, the banks and the ecosystem continuously evolved the UPI and the other platforms, right? So what we launched about 7 years back and what you see today are completely different platforms. So I think these are three reasons I would say that whatever success India has got is because of three primary reasons. I must say that.
Thank you, Dilip. I think what is exciting is where things have now landed up. Obviously, like what you said, right? For each one of us, even if you have to buy one coconut water from somebody, you are able to make payments by digital payment, by UPI. If you're taking an auto and he doesn't have change, he says, "Saab, mujhe payment kar do, UPI se kaam khatam ho jayega." So he is also willing to do that for each one of us, and it's a proud moment. But this kind of a proud moment doesn't happen overnight. It's happened in stages. And you've been involved with NPCI almost from the inception in some form.
Yes.
And you've seen some inflection points. And because many of us here are retailers and we'd like to know how do things change? Because many people are in their businesses at various points and they don't know when that eureka moments will happen in their businesses. So 2 or 3 things that you think are the eureka moments that happened for digital payments could be of help to us. I know it's not part of what we had originally discussed, but when you told me this comes up in mind because it is some things that have changed the way things are getting accepted. लोग डिजिटल पेमेंट नहीं लेंगे to an extent wherein यार कैश मत दो डिजिटल पेमेंट लेते हैं. I mean, preferences become digital than cash. So
and Kumar, very right. I have an observation also. While you are now you run the Retailer Association of India, and I think the adoption also varies throughout the country.
Yeah.
And technically, actually, I have seen, and I don't know why it is like that, but South has been a little bit ahead of South side retailers are a bit ahead than the rest of the country. Of course, it's I think from an enablement standpoint, everybody's there. But in the South, I think the penetration is tremendous. And I wanted to actually talk about one more thing you spoke about that, and I'll go to your question in a while, the coconut water example, right? And one more thing I just want to add, Kumar, and I hope retailers will understand the value of that. See, today, the real consumption is not driven on own money. The real consumption is driven on credit, right? And today, when you look at the US, some of the progressed, developed economies, some of the European economies, right? Because the credit card was widely accepted at all the locations, right? The economy grew faster, right?
Correct.
And the retailers also grew faster.
Correct.
So now you gave the example of credit, right? Traditionally, while NPCI did this whole QR code along with RBI and government support and the fintech and the banks, still credit was not part, right?
Yes.
Today, and today with the RuPay credit card on UPI and the credit line, which RBI recently permitted on UPI, now even that coconut fellow can actually be part of the credit money. Earlier, he could only receive money. Earlier, he was only cash.
Correct.
Then he started getting the share of the overall bank accounts in the country.
Correct.
Now, he is now participating in also getting the credit money in the ecosystem, and I think that's a big thing in my assessment. I just wanted to put that point there because otherwise these merchants were excluded first from the digital payments and then from the credit. Because the credit customer could use only on the shopper stops and the big ones in that sense. So I think now this is a very important point which I wanted to update to your retailers that now with the UPI RuPay credit card on UPI and the credit line on UPI, now they will also get the credit money, which means more sales than the digital payments. So now coming back to your question, Kumar, I think the way I look at in any business, right? I think there are two things which I believe are very important, and then you can wait for the eureka moment. the first point is, are you giving a exponential experience to the customer, right? Whatever he's doing, right? So I'm saying that, so in UPI, one of the first principle was the consumer experience. We didn't want an incremental change, we wanted an exponential change. So and you could actually imagine that, while consumer could take out the card and also pay and whatever it is, but the making a transaction with UPI is by far simpler than any method in the world, right?
Correct.
And I think that is what we kept it as a first principle, Kumar. And I think that principle applies to every retailer, right? So if every retailer is able to welcome the customer, give that experience when he is facing to that consumer, when he's fulfilling his order, when he's giving the service, right? I think that is a hygiene for any scale, right? I think, and then when you wait for the Eureka, then you are eligible to wait for the Eureka moments, right? Because unless you are providing that experience, unless you are treating your customers God, unless you are welcoming them to your store, unless you are ensuring that they would like to come back to your store, right? Eureka moment will never happen till then, right? And now once this happens, the Eureka moment, and I would like to state that the demon and the COVID actually created that Eureka moment for us, because it kind of pushed the consumers for a viable alternative, right? While the viable alternative was there always, Kumar, but I think that kind of nudge or a kind of a push which was given by Demon and the COVID, the consumer actually took that leap of faith. And I would actually say that, I was actually amazed with the technology adoption. I think our people, we must give a credit to Indians that, while they may not understand the literacy might be lower, but I think they adopted
Absolutely.
when the need was there.
Yeah.
Need was there. They adopted to this very beautifully, and our fintechs also, like, I'm saying the sound box which Paytm invented, right? It's a kind of such a great frugal innovation. I think 1,000 rupees they're able to give that sound box.
Correct.
And customer even does not have to even look at the phone that did I receive the payment or not in the local languages. I think so. I think it's we are living in a great time is what I can say, Kumar.
Actually, the thing that came top of my mind was when Demon happened, everybody went through the thought of, "Arey mar gaye." When COVID happened, I think everybody thought, "Arey bach gaye," because of the fact that there was this kind of payment ecosystem available. That's the big change in the way people adopted, right? Because when money was easily available, when they were all connected with each other, that's what made us sail through the entire COVID era. So thanks to the fact that we were digitally so well advanced, thanks to the fact that we were able to do things even without necessarily meeting each other, I think we were in a different phase. For retailers, again, I think we'll come to the last part of because you have to go, and I know that you've got a time schedule. And before that, for retailers, it only makes sense to take money that's coming in from UPI, because not only did it ensure that their money was coming in, but also the one big elephant in the room always with retailer was the big amount of MDR that they'd otherwise pay to all the international players. And suddenly they were getting money at zero MDR. I mean, they would have possibly been willing to pay a small amount also, but this was zero MDR and they were getting money and no reconciliations, big reconciliations to be made. So it's very, very big for them. So taking that question and telling what is to be done by retailers to take things forward and what's the future plan for NPCI?
No, I think, Kumar, the way I would like to position this little differently, right? And I want to just put it up for the consideration of the retailers that, obviously, I think the small retailers, and I would like to actually differentiate between the small retailer and the large retailers, right? The large retailers should pay for a reasonable MDR on the transaction. And, when we put up the reasonable MDR, UPI was not 2%, 2.5%. UPI was 30 basis points. And I think the large merchants, 30 basis point is not a big issue in my assessment, provided, and and the fintechs and the banks are also providing a lot of services, right? Whether it's a reconciliation, sales service, chargeback, feet on street. So there is a lot of support also required for the large merchants.
Yes.
For the small merchants, Kumar, I think the government and RBI is very clear that, I think and the small retailer has played a huge role. Actually, today we are converting to a digital payment economy. I think the credit goes to the small retailer, right? And there also, I would recommend that. I think it's a retailer's choice. I think when you get the QR code, like a paper QR code, right? I'm saying that is like almost like a zero cost model.
Correct.
But I personally believe that the small retailer will also evolve, Kumar, over the period, because as the economy grows, as the market grows, as he or she also has aspirations to get better and better and create a kind of so that we spoke about that democratization, right?
Yes.
So he also needs to have that sound box, right? He also should have tap and pay, right? Because I hope you know that, we have launched a very frugal tap and pay on UPI also. About 200 million phones in India are NFC compliant.
Yes.
And so I think it's an evolution. So my request to the retailer association and the community there is not to be satisfied on the basic. The evolution should happen, and even if there is a small charge on that evolution, the retailer should look at it as a long-term story. Because see, if you are getting higher and higher income, higher and higher revenues because of digital payments,
Yes.
you should not mind spending that small charge on a value-added services, on a better devices, right? Because why not a sound box should exist with the coconut fellow? Why not a tap and pay? And I think we need to look at that aspirational pace, which will make consumers very comfortable making more and more transactions, right? I'm saying payment is a key enabler for the sales and a key driver for sales. The retailers should not forget that, Kumar.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think any retailer thinks any service should be free. So,
Yeah.
so services should never be free. It should not be expensive, but it should not be.
It should not be. And I'm fully aligned. That, the small retailer is very key. And still, Kumar, I think we have miles to go. I think what I believe that, we have only 50% penetration in the small retailer. So remaining 50% we still have to get. So I think it's still a lot of work to be done by the banks and the fintechs and us to ensure that every small retailer in the country has a digital payment acceptance.
Yes, I think it has a big role to play in the evolution of their own family systems. I just have to accentuate, because once a person takes digital payments, is able to come out of his cash counter. When any retailer comes out of his cash counter, his ability to evolve and expand becomes very different. And his family members also want to then come and join his business. They don't want to join a business जहाँ गल्ले के पीछे बैठना पड़ता है.
Great point.
That's a psychological issue with retailers. We've got a lot of South retailers also who've come in here. I'm sure they can make some noise if they want to. So some noise from the South retailers. Also, I think what you said in terms of credit play, we'll wait for those things to come up. We'd love the chance of getting credit to come in. Some of the players who, especially from the CDIT product, currently, as much as 65% of their business comes because of customer credit. So we are seeing that happening to other categories also. So again, I think whatever you are doing for the sake of RuPay and the credit is definitely going to enhance the ability for them to accept.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Dilip.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you, Kumar. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.